Hello, welcome back to Yoga with me. I'm Adrienne. I am going to scoot back soon to my mat, but in the meantime, if you haven't yet, please grab a blanket or two, or a towel, something you can fold. Feel free to grab water or something to sip on. Pillows are good if you would like something to relax back on or sit on. And if you use yoga blocks or a stack of sturdy textbooks to bring the floor closer to your reach, now's a good time to grab them. All right, I will see you shortly. So we're actually going to begin standing today, unlike most of my other classes. Maybe it is just the sunshine, which is energizing me more than usual. At this point in the day, for me, it's 4 o'clock. But wherever you are and whatever time it is when you're watching this, just close down the eyes or soften the gaze. Let's allow ourselves not to use the tool of visual focus right now. Drop the chin towards the chest, bowing the head slightly so you feel the back of the neck lengthen. Bend the knees slightly as well. And you can have the feet placed as wide as you like, as wide or as narrow as makes your balance as easeful as possible. So with the knees bent, maybe you can kind of rock forward and backwards, shifting your body weight into the toes. So that's forward and backwards into the heels. At the same time, see if you can coax that weight to creep into all of the surface of the sole of your foot on the ground. Sometimes we say all the corners of the feet, all 4 corners of the feet. Some people don't like that description, so that's why I qualify a description like that. But I just want to encourage more of the sole of the foot to make contact with, touch the mat. You can shift your weight also side to side, rolling into the inner and outer edges of each foot. That's a little massage too, and a wake up in the ankles. Might get some cracks out of that. So all we're doing is getting right with how we feel physically today, our sense of movement, our sense of stillness, and balance as we begin to plug in. So maybe we'll come back to a more still position if you were enjoying mapping out the bottom sides of your feet. Maybe lift up the toes and then replace them all back down on the mat, trying to spread them wide like you can grip the mat with the toes. All right. Relax the arms down by the sides, letting the hands fall outside the line of the hips and thighs. Bring a little bit of movement to the fingers, just to remind them to unclench, maybe shake out the hands and wrists. Going to have a bend to the elbows, let the arms and the hands be heavy. Let them draw the shoulders down away from the ears. At the same time, press into the feet and feel energy streaming up through the legs, the torso, and then up out of the head. So it's as if you have 2 ends of a magnet pulling on either end of your standing body. Encourage the palms to face more forward, which will help the shoulders rotate outward as well. Which will broaden the chest, make more space for the heart and for the lungs for when we get to breathing a little more intentionally. Notice whether your shoulders are forward or behind the hips and see what it feels like to move them to what feels like directly over the hips, and both of those to hover over the feet. Okay, so we're just one long floating stack. Take a deep breath in through the nose, pull the breath down through the belly, let it puff out if you like, hold on full, and let the breath roll out the mouth on the exhale. Belly softens and compresses a little bit as the breath escapes. So that one more time. Inhale through the nose, down into the belly. Holding on full. Shoulders are still soft, away from the ears, and exhale out the mouth. One more time, inhale. Hold on full, and exhale out the mouth to release. Maybe you notice each breath, the rest of your body moved a little bit. Maybe you shifted forward or up onto the toes and then back on the heels as you exhaled. Maybe not. Let's do one more breath. Inhale to the nose, down to the belly, and hold on full. Holding a little bit longer this time. And exhale, release the breath. Keep the eyes closed for a moment. Just track the motion of the breath coming in and out. More natural breathing. No longer holding. No longer intentionally puffing up the belly to make more space in the lungs. Back to sensing that stacking of the physical body. Just an opportunity to observe micro movements and the other feelings you may have, energetically or physical, perhaps emotionally, when you are just watching yourself breathe. If there's anyone or any concept to which you'd like to dedicate today's practice, think about either of those right now. Send out that intention, that hope for connection. And we'll take one more breath in together through the nose. Release out the mouth. Just feel that dedication. All right, let the head roll up, flutter the eyes open. Then come to face the top of the mat. We'll inhale the arms way up, stretching up to the fingertips. Maybe gaze goes up. You can keep a slight bend in the knees, feeling the tailbone dropping down. That helps to straighten out the spine. Might also cause you to feel the abs tighten a little bit. This is all just good stuff to help support the torso and the organs within it. So again, inhale to reach up. Exhale, fold over the legs, bending knees is totally fine and might even feel better than if you have straight legs. Let the head hang, super heavy, give it a shake. Yes and no. So nod and a shake. Maybe your hands find the mat. If you bend your knees more, maybe you like to stretch out the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, and are straightening legs a little more. If you're straightening your legs, sense that rocking back and forth in and out of the toes. What that does to the sensation of the back of the legs. If you have those blocks, you can always place them underneath your head, under your dome. Let the hands find it, and that might give you some more sturdiness as if you could reach the mat. Just using the block as an extension of the floor. And then we're going to straighten the spine to look forward, a couple feet in front of us, working to straighten the arms, straighten the legs. No big deal if you can't. Pull the low belly in, so we take a little bit of the dip out of the low back. Reunite with that feeling of the underside of the sole of your foot. The underside, also known as the sole of your foot. And see if you can seal down the outer edges of your feet, so you might feel the arches peel up away from the floor. Take a deep breath into the lungs. You might feel the back, the upper back, and the shoulder blades spread and puff up. And exhale, fold over the legs again, hanging in your forward fold. Maybe sway the hips side to side. Wake up in the outer hips and hamstrings. All right, if you have that block, move it on out of the way. I'll take one more forward fold, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. This time we're gonna plant the palms, so bring the bend to the knees if you need to. Step the right foot back, step the left foot back. Feet can be hips width distance, they can be wider, whatever. See if you can tuck the hips down, tuck the butt down. So your hips are in line with your shoulders. Shoulders are over wrists. Rolling our weight more into the balls of the feet. Pull the low belly in. Pushing the floor away, spreading the shoulder blades across the back. Managing to breathe all the while. And then we're going to send the hips up and back, finding a downward facing dog. So fingertips and palms are super spread. Pressing that floor away. Working to straighten the arms and rotate the upper arms so that the elbow points go forward. Knees can be as bent as you like. It's better to keep the hips going high. So we're bringing that point of your triangle-shaped body right now closer to the floor. You can rise up onto tippy toes. Let the head hang between the shoulders and the upper arms. Pull the low belly in. Inhale and exhale. Bring the heels closer to the mat. Inhale, lift the heels up on the tippy toes. Exhale, lower the heels towards the floor. One more time. Inhale, hips up onto the tippy toes. Exhale, lower those heels towards the floor. Still pressing the floor away in the hands. Still pulling the low belly to focus that apex of your triangle, your butt, your hips, up to the ceiling. And maybe we feel the head and its heaviness, focusing on it longer. Take one more breath in. And exhale, drop the knees, toes together, knees can go wide. Send the hips back towards the heel, keeping the hands outstretched. Forehead comes towards the mat. Take a couple breaths, slowing down, cooling down. If you got a little faster paced breath, a little bit of heaving, all good stuff. Trying to move us slowly as we introduce ourselves to the movement. After 2 breaths, look forward between your hands. You're going to come up onto tabletops. That's hips over knees, hands underneath the shoulders. So we're just going to step right foot forward between the hands. You might have to do a little shuffling to get there. Tuck the back toe. We're just going to kick up. Step both feet next to each other towards the front of your mat. Forward fold. We'll inhale for halfway lift, long spine, gazes forward. Pull those shoulder blades down and back. Low belly up and in. Exhale, fold. And then bend the knees and push into the floor. Push the feet to the floor. Sweep the hands out and up. Standing upright. Inhale at the top. And exhale, hands through the center of the chest. And down by the sides, palms facing forward, extending the arms. And bend the chin towards the chest. Couple breaths in to settle. Do that again. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins. Exhale, fold, plant the palms, step right foot back. Step the other foot back. Holding in our plank, shoulders over wrists, working to straighten the arms and rotate elbow points to face forward, same direction as your middle fingers. Fingers are spread wide, heels going back, rolling onto our big toe, or all of our toe mounts. Low belly in, and send hips up and back, down dog once again. Pressing into the hands. Shifting the hips higher. Inhale. Exhale for 1. Inhale. Exhale for 2. Inhale. Exhale for 3. We'll come up onto our tippy toes. Look forward between the hands. We're going to bend the knees in a crouching position. And then you can step up to the front of your mat, or you can hop. Feet towards hands, forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press all the way upright. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest, down by the side. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold to the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step right foot back. We'll stay here in our runner's lunge, pulling both hips back, bringing hips lower to the ground, starting to wake up that right hip flexor, just the underside of the hip as it's facing the floor right now. Nice bend in the left knee. Plant the right palm right inside the left foot and sweep the left hand up overhead, stacking left shoulder over right. Keep pressing out through the right heel. Keep lifting through the back of the right knee. Keep pressing the floor away in that grounded right palm. Take a deep breath in, feel the collarbone spread across the chest. And rotate that hand forward and down. Lower the knee to the mat. And climb the hands up onto the thigh. So if this doesn't feel good for you, you want to back out. Bring your knees into more like 90-degree angle bend. So you have a nice square, rectangle, something regular here. So your thigh can be more parallel. Work on pulling that left hip back, sending the right hip forward. Pull the low belly up and in, and you'll feel that tailbone go down. All right, you can even like touch yourself like that. Guide yourself with those couple of cues. The main ones are left hip back, right hip forward. You won't get much movement there. And heavy tailbone. You might, it's kind of like you're thrusting forward, so you're gripping the glutes a little bit. And you can have your back toe tucked. That's your right toe, or you can untuck it. If you do that, it feels good to press the top of the foot into the ground. So it's like you're dragging that right knee towards the back of the left heel, and you're dragging the left heel back towards that right knee. And then you'll release the hands if you're touching yourself to guide those motions. Sweep the arms up to frame the face. Nice flexed palms, fingertips are radiating out of it. Working to straighten the arms. Growing up out of the hips, the whole torso and the arms. Gaze is neutral and forward, or you can tip the head back slightly to look up between the hands. Inhale to get taller. Exhale, part the hands. Elbows bend out to the side. Pull the shoulder blades together across the back, right in the middle. Feel that chest stretch. Get some stretch on the upper shoulders. Keep pulling the back of the hands and the forearms back in space like you can make them meet. The backs of your palms will touch the tops of your hands. Inhale, extend the arms up to frame the face again. And fold over that front leg. We're going to send the hips back to straighten the left foot. Flexing the left toes back towards the face, coming into half split. So you might want to grab blocks here. Those can feel really nice. A little bit of relief. Again, bringing the floor closer to your hands as they fall more naturally. So again, we are in our lunge. We just shift the hips back, and as we do, left foot stays where it was, and the toes just flex, straightening the left leg. Okay? So the higher your blocks are, and the closer they are to your hips, the more upright you're going to be in the chest, the more you can focus on pulling the left hip back, and you'll feel a nice stretch on the outer line of the left leg. And that will be enhanced if you pull the toes of the left foot back towards the face, flexing the foot. So same kind of scrubby motion. Right knee is pulling towards left ankle, left heel is pulling back towards that right knee. So we often call it like a scissoring action, right? It's like right where our groin is I guess a fulcrum. It's a fulcrum. And that's where the two levers are meeting, right? So you have the right leg as one lever, left leg as the other. And they are moving on an axis towards one another, but in a line. Okay, unnecessary to do that. If you want, you can step those blocks further towards the foot, right? That'll give you more stretch, on that left hamstring for sure. Or if you don't have blocks, you're gonna go all the way. You can be on fingertips, be on palms. If you're on fingertips, you get a better chance of being able to keep the arms and the spine straight. Again, try that scrubbing. Pull the left foot back, send the right knee forward. Pull the left hip back, send the right hip forward. All right, that is enough. We'll come forward to bend into the left knee. Coming onto our fingertips. Retucking the back toes if they weren't anymore. And we're going to lift right knee up away from the floor, runner's lunge. Plant the palms, step the left foot back to meet the right, holding in plank. Take a deep breath in, press the floor away. Exhale, lower the knees. We're going to keep the fingertips facing forward, and we're going to bend elbows back, trying to keep the head and chest forward of the hands. And we're going to bend the elbows back, 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 lowering the chest all the way down. Use a little bit of our triceps and our shoulder strength to do that. And then we're going to peel the head, neck, and chest away from the floor. Maybe untuck the toes, coming into baby cobra. So we're pulling bent elbows in towards the sides, like they're glued to the sides, rather than flopping out. So if we pull the shoulders, or we pull the elbows back, it's also going to draw the shoulders outward as well. Pull the shoulder blades together on the back. Let the shoulder tops fall away from the ears. Got some space on top of them. Engage the whole leg, pressing the top of the foot into the floor. Maybe feel the kneecaps come away from the floor. Pull a low belly in. Clench the glutes a little bit, protecting the low back. Feel the shape of the pelvis and the low belly change on the floor. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, release the head down to the ground. Rock the hips side to side. Do that one more time. So again, you got some space between your feet. The tops of the feet are on the ground. Engage the kneecaps, lift the knees away from the floor so you feel the pubic bone make more contact with the floor. You feel the glutes turn on. And you're gonna suck those elbows back and into the sides of the ribs. Roll the head, neck, and shoulders up. Gripping the two shoulder blades together in the center of the back. Peeling the chest open. Maybe the hands float away from the floor. One more breath in. Reground the hands. Retuck the toes. Let the head fall for a moment to the floor. Shake the hips side to side. Little rock and roll. And then we'll push up through our tabletop. Send the hips back towards the feet. You can untuck the toes. Let the toes come together and the chest come over or in between the thighs for child's pose. Take a couple breaths here. And after a few, look between the hands. We're going to come back through our down dog. So even with bent knees, send the hips up and back, re-straighten the arms. Now bend the legs, come to that crouching position, and either step up or hop to the front of the mat for forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fold again. Press into the feet, sweep everything up, inhale. Exhale, hands to the center of the chest, draping down by the sides. Breath in, and breath out. One more time, the other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. This time, step your left foot back. So now we're doing a little runner's lunge, other side. Maybe rock forward and back. And this time we're heating things up, stretching the underside of our left hip flexor, booty. After some movement, let's ground the left palm this time and sweep right arm up to twist. Keep lifting up through the left knee so that left thigh comes away from the floor. Keep pressing the left hand into the ground and raising the right fingertips up away from it. Spreading the collarbone, maybe you can pinch the shoulder blades across the back, and that'll open you up a little bit more. Gaze can go up towards the fingertips, or if that doesn't feel good in the neck, be straight out to the right side. Take one more breath. And rotate that right arm forward and down. Lower the left knee to the mat this time. Untuck the toes. We're going to shift the hips back, coming to half split, other side. So this time, if you want, to creep the hands back closer to the hips. Grab your blocks again. Raise that floor up away from where it is without the blocks. Do that. So straightening the right leg, flexing right toes back towards the face. Pull right hip back. Send left hip forward. So scissoring action in the legs. You might feel your thighs rubbing up against one another. So it's like your right leg is trying to bypass the left. You're going to feel that right heel scrubbing into the mat. And at the same time, a left knee scrubbing into the mat, working forwards. So you can keep a nice bend in that knee. Some legs like to lock out, right? So we want to keep the legs engaged, so not completely straight if it's going to lock out the knee. Keep pulling the right toes back towards the face. Press your hands away from the floor or the blocks to straighten them. And see if you can straighten your spine, presenting the chest forward instead of curving, right? So gaze might be a little higher away from the ground than underneath your face. Take one more breath in. And out. Maybe walk blocks or hands forward towards the heel again. A deeper, more intense, more sensational. Outer right leg, hamstring stretch. Keep flexing the toes back towards the face. Re-engage with that scrubbing feeling. Right foot going back, left knee going forward. And we'll fold into that right knee, or bend into the right knee, coming forward into our low lunge. So I bypassed this, so we're gonna make a stop here. So maybe you step your back knee, your left knee forward a little bit, and we're gonna come into just more of an upright lunge, okay? So this might look like this for you. We got some nice squares underneath our thighs and behind our thighs. Or we might bend more forward into the front leg, truly lunging into it in the more conventional sense of the word. So this is gonna wake up the underside of your left leg even more, but you do not have to do this, okay? So what we do next might determine whether you back up into that more parallel lunge. And send the arms upright, up towards the sky to frame the face. If your back toe is untucked, your back toes are untucked, top of the foot should be pressing into the mat. We're also pressing into the big toe mound of the right foot. So that might shift your chest up and back a little bit. Push those glutes forward, pull the right hip back. Ooh, that's a change. Keep pressing up, pulling up to the fingertips. Take one breath in to get long, and exhale, part the arms, bending elbows and pulling shoulder blades together on the back. Couple breaths here. Opening the chest up, keep pulling the arms back as if they could meet behind you. Pull the low belly in, feel heavy in the tailbone. Inhale, straighten the arms, get tall. Exhale, fold over that thigh, retuck the back toes, lift the knee away from the floor. Take a moment in your runner's lunge. Now we're just gonna step back, finding high plank. Press the floor away, push the hips and the butt down, pull the low belly in. Lower the knees to the mat, bend the elbows back towards the hips, lowering the chest between the hands, slowly. And then untuck the toes, roll up into your low cobra. So chest, head, and neck lift away from the floor. Engage the legs to lift the kneecaps away from it, pressing into the tops of the toes and the foot. Elbows are still pulling back. glued to the sides, to the ribs. And you're pulling your shoulder blades together. Clench the glutes a little bit, sending the tailbone to be a little more straight rather than curved up towards the ceiling. You might feel pubic bone grind into the floor a bit. Pull the low belly in. Take a breath if you forgot. Hi, buddy. Don't bite me. And release forehead to the ground. Shake the hips side to side. Little break. And we'll take that baby cobra one more time. Lifting head, neck, and chest away from the floor. Maybe get a little taller this time. Keep pressing the tops of the feet into the ground. Keep those elbows rotating back and glued to the side. Press the floor away with the hands. Exhale, send the hips back towards the feet. Let the chest rest over or between the thighs. Walk the fingertips a few inches forward. Feel a good stretch on those armpits. And take a few breaths to settle it out. All right, we're gonna come up into tabletop. I'm just gonna thread the needle. So round your left palm. Before we do that, let's just say palms are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips, okay? So you have like a nice table-shaped body position. Then we're gonna ground the left palm, wriggle those right fingers away from the floor, and then you're gonna sweep right arm, stacking right shoulder over left, opening up, twisting to the right side. And then you're gonna curve right arm underneath your torso, behind the right elbow, sliding the back of the right palm on the floor, and lowering the head and the top of the right shoulder towards the floor, twisting to the left side. And just rest here. If you're not feeling much sensation, see if you can square the hips. You might want to send them both over to the right a little bit. That'll actually get you probably closer to square. So it's like sending your hips back to hover directly over the knees. You can press the top of the arm into the ground. That'll give you a little more rotation. Also walk the fingertips of the left hand forward. That'll straighten your left arm. And look under the left armpit. Keep breathing in and out. Notice how the breath is a little more constrained. And the twist, the torso, kind of closes off the space for the lungs to move. How can we soften more effectively? Invite breath in and release it. The last step, if you like a little bit more, press the whole back of the right hand and arm into the ground, and maybe you can send left arm up. So playing with a little bounce. If you like, rotate the hand so the palm faces back behind you. Thumb is going down towards the floor-ish. You're going to bend the elbow, keep the elbow going up towards the ceiling. Back of the hand goes towards outside of the right hip. A little half bind. Keep pressing the floor away with that grounded right arm. Keep pulling the left shoulder back and open, looking over it. Maybe you can grab the inside of your right thigh. And that can be a little handle for you, making it a little bit easier to keep the right or the left shoulder opening up. A couple more breaths wherever you are. See if you can soften the eyes and what happens to your balance, your security. All right, if you are bound, release everything. Bring the left hand back closer to the face on the ground. And we're just gonna slowly unthread the needle. Take a stop with the right hand up, extending and opening up. And then place right hand on the ground. We'll do this other side. So this time, ground right palm under the right shoulder. Release and sweep left arm up. So left shoulder comes right over right shoulder. Take a breath in And exhale, bend the left arm underneath the torso behind your right forearm, sliding the back of the right or the left hand on the ground directly out towards the right side of you. Right hand can stay grounded on the floor by the face, or it can tiptoe out in front of you, straightening and extending the right arm. Stretching the underside of the right armpit. You can look under that armpit. Maybe you tuck both hips towards the left so they can hover more directly over the knees, and that'll increase especially the twist sensation in the lower half of your spine. Keep pressing into the grounded shoulder, the back of the left arm and hand. That'll help you to rotate a little bit more in the twist if you'd like. Press the tops of the feet in the floor. If you want a little bit more, you can release that right hand from the ground and send the fingertips up over the head, over the right shoulder. Pinch the shoulder blades together. Really only pinching the right shoulder blade towards where the left one would be if it wasn't on the ground. And then feel that right shoulder top rotate back and open. And then rotate the palm to face back behind you. That's the right hand. Bend the elbow, keep the elbow high, but let the right palm, the back of the right hand slide behind the back, going towards the left hip crease. Maybe find it, you can tuck those fingertips in. If you do find a home in that crease, pull the right shoulder open and back. Try keeping the shoulder away from the ear. Stretching the shoulder top, but opening the chest. And then maybe that hand can find the inner line of the left thigh. Be a little bit more leverage, a little bit of a handle to grip onto. Maybe gaze goes up towards the ceiling. A couple breaths, maybe you can soften the gaze with the eyes. Just watch the body moving with the breath. See if you can invite more breath in, even though we're in a strange contortion. And the torso technically is constrained. The lungs are constrained in the twist. All right, good exercise, good practice. We'll extend the arm up if it was bound. Place it on the ground next to the face. And gently slide the back of the left hand under you. Open up into a twist, reset. And a reground left palm. Bring both hands under the shoulders, both knees under the hips. Lower the belly, send the hips and the head up towards the ceiling. It's like your spine is the smile and the smiling face, the mouth and a smiling face. And then lower head, send tailbone down, bend the spine the opposite direction. Or I hate to say it, but a frowny mouth and a frowny face. And then flex the other way, tailbone head goes up. This is also known as cow, a little bit more cheerful. And other way, cat, pull the low belly in. Cat, that is more cheerful than frowny face spine. One more time, cow. And cat. Sit the hips back onto the heels. Lower the chin towards the chest, lengthening the back of the neck. Feel the hips underneath the shoulders and feel the shoulders floating over the hips. Notice the heart beating. Notice the chest gently animated by the breath coming in and out. Encourage the palms of the hands to soften, to unclench. Maybe you can notice your pulse coursing through different parts of your body. I feel it in my palms right now. All right, we're going to come up onto our shins. Knees are underneath our hip bones. Maybe you feel for those in your own hips if you're unfamiliar with where they lay. And then we're just we have our toes untucked. Unless that hurts the top of your feet, then you can tuck the toes. Actually have an injured second toe on my left foot, so this hurts me more than usual. So I'm going to untuck my toes. You can do either, whichever makes you feel more secure. Release the hands down by the sides, and then you're going to clasp them behind you. So bring them into a fist behind the pelvis. See if you can rub them up against that bony flat plate on the back of the pelvis, the sacrum, okay? So find that, so your thumbs and your index finger knuckles are kind of pressing into them, and then pinch the shoulder blades together, pull the elbows back. So everything is starting to open up. Shoulders and collarbone is opening up, stretching for sure. Clench the glutes, so you're kind of thrusting the hips forward. Feel that tailbone go down like it's tracing a line on the floor between your knees. You'll feel your low belly straighten up and maybe engage. Still pulling elbows towards one another, still pulling elbows back. Allowing the shoulders and the chest to open. Maybe you tuck the chin. Ooh. This always intensifies the back and neck stretch for me. Despite the intensity, see if you can marvel at the kind of simplicity of what we're doing. It's just pulling elbows back, shoulder blades together, and tucking in the chin. All right, and then maybe you can lift the palms away from the hips, working to straighten the arms. Maybe they don't come close to straight at all. So you can either keep the heels of the hands together, you're much more likely to keep a bend in the elbow if you do that, or you can release the palms. Maybe you'll get a little more straightness in the arms then. See what you prefer. You can switch between the two. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to keep pulling those hands away from the floor, from the pelvis, and we're going to start to bend. Sending the hip down towards the floor, the head down towards the floor. Sorry, I keep mixing up head and hips. Rolling onto the crown of the head, okay? So you might not hit it the first time, which is totally okay. But this is just a little bit of kind of elementary headstand. We call it hair pose. So we just have a little bind in the arms to keep the shoulders and the chest opening. If you really don't like this, I don't blame you. It's pretty uncomfortable. You can release the arms and just put them underneath the elbows. So you have kind of like a right angle with your arms, allowing the shoulders to drop away from the ears. This is your hair pose. And also rest the backs of the hands on the floor, back by your knees or perhaps beyond them, behind the knees, and straighten the arms. So you're just allowing your head to be below our heart for a moment. See if we can pull the shoulders down away from the ears rather than letting everything cave down in towards the head. Pull a little bit of weight out of the shoulders and head. And then we're just going to roll back onto the forehead, come back to sit in child's pose. And you can let the shoulders roll, be comfy, slouchy. And you can rock the head side to side and massage the forehead. All right, I'm gonna plant the palms on either side of the knees and just guide yourself to sit back up onto your shins. And we're gonna take the legs out to one side and out in front of us. I'm gonna bring the soles of the feet together. Knees are bent. They might be way up in the air. They might be closer to the ground. You can work to shimmy the feet towards the groin. But if they get stuck kind of out here, that's fine too. You're going to reach down towards either your shins, your ankles, or your feet, and work to straighten the spine as much as you can. If you still have a bend in your arms with a straight spine, pull up on that part of the leg that you clasped with your hands. If you have a bend in your elbows, same as with the bind, we're going to pull the elbows in close to the side and pull the elbows back. So we're just kind of tucking everything in towards the spine. And then maybe we hinge at the hips. Chest starts to fall towards the floor a little bit. I'll likely just hover somewhere over the feet. And keep pulling on your ankles or your shin. Or you can release the hands to the floor. Straighten the arms. See if you can keep the spine straight as you pull it towards the ground, or you let gravity pull it towards the ground. Have your blocks, you can grab those. Ooh. So you can either rest your forearms on them or your elbows. You want to do a little glamour shot pose like this. And also use it out in front of you or them out in front of you. You want to keep the arms straight. And just let the head fall between the shoulders. Or you can plant a block underneath the forehead on a height that works for you. And let the forehead rest on the block. See if you can draw the ears or draw the shoulders away from the ears. Soften the gaze wherever you are. See if you can feel the effect of gravity pulling on your outer thighs, your outer hips, opening your legs up like a book. This feels horrible, or if it hurts your knees, back out. And you can step the feet forward, away from the groin. So you have more of a rectangle or a diamond shape in your legs. You're just going to feel this a little differently. I can't say it's better. For me, I prefer them equally, which isn't a ton. But it is a fun experiment. And wherever you are, if you haven't allowed yourself to, let the upper back curl. Let yourself slouch a little. Let your head, neck, and shoulders get heavy. All right, walk your hands back towards the hips. Bring the torso upright. We're going to scoot the hips forward, more towards the center of the mat. A little bit of bridge work, all right? So knees are up towards the ceiling, soles of the feet on the ground. And roll yourself back to lay on the ground. Send your arms long on either side of you. And walk your feet in towards the hips until you can tickle the backs of your heels with your fingers. Soles of your feet are about as wide as your hips. Toes are pointing straight forward. You're going to press the whole palm flat into the ground. Start to press the backs of your arms and your elbows and your forearms into the ground. Pull the low belly in a little bit. Maybe you'll feel the tailbone scoop up towards the ceiling. Press the feet into the ground, and then engage the glutes to lift the seat away from the floor, coming into a bridge. All right, keep pressing into the feet, the heels, and the toes in the front of the foot. Keep sending the hips up. Chin is tucked. You can look kind of up the diagonal of your belly up to the knees. Trying to keep that as straight a line as possible. Take a deep breath in, maybe get a little higher, maybe you can press the arm bones more into the floor, and then lower the hips towards the ground again. Maybe windshield wiper the legs, meaning you send the left leg out to the side and let the right leg drop in, and then you alternate. The right leg goes out, left leg drops in. A couple times like that. Relieve the hips in the back. And then we'll come back, resetting knees in the sky over the heels, and those heels have feet attached to them. Those toes are pointing forward. All right, this time you can do the same exact thing. So we're going to press into the feet, press into the arms and palms, and send the hips up. If you want a little bit more, you can bind the hands, make a fist underneath the pelvis. You can start to walk the shoulder heads in towards the midline. So it's like you're gripping the two shoulder blades together, pinching them together, and you'll feel the upper arms as the thing on the ground much more. Press those upper arms into the ground. So you're cracking open your chest. You're still pressing into the feet. You're still sending the hips high, working to try and straighten the spine, diagonal down from the knees. A couple breaths here. Pressing into the feet. Maybe your spine starts to curve, your upper spine curves. Release the hands if you have them bound. Use them as brakes as you bring upper, middle, low back, and hips down to the ground. Take that windshield wiper if you liked it. Release hips and back. All right. Resetting knees up to ceiling, soles of the feet on the ground. This time, we're going to lift the shins to come parallel to the floor. So our spine is long on the ground. We're actually going to lift the head to look through the legs. Pull the low belly down. Feel the low back seal to the bottom of the floor. So that small bend that's naturally in the low back, try and get rid of that by pulling the belly in and down. You're going to send right foot forward, flexed foot, and then switch it out with the left. So we're aiming to stop the bent thigh when it comes to 90 degrees or parallel with the floor. So it's actually harder than if you pull it in closer to the chest. All right. And each time you kick out, exhale. Keep pulling the head away from the floor, head and shoulders if you can. So shoulder blades might come off the floor. If you like, hands can come off the floor and palms can face up. Keep pulling the low belly down. Feel that low back sealing into the floor. And your legs don't have to go like super close down to the floor when they float. They can stay up, that's okay. Whatever turns your core on. Then you can experiment with that. You want to keep pulling those fingertips forward though, if they're off the ground. Because that's pulling your shoulder blades up. Keep breathing. Do 5 more each side. 4, 3, 2, 1, and come to parallel. Send the head, neck, and shoulders to the ground. Move anything away that is to your side. Send the arms out to a T, palms face up, and let the 2 knees drop over to the right, coming into a side twist, gentle on the right side. See if you can bring that left shoulder down to the mat, maybe letting your gaze go towards the left hand. You're rolled onto your right hip, left hip is stacked over it more or less. 2 thighs are together on the right side. Soften the gaze. Watch your breath, hopefully slowing down. Turn the gaze up towards the ceiling. I'm going to exhale and bring knees to float directly over the hips. Resetting in between. And we're going to lower the legs over to the left side. Knees are bent, rolling onto the left hip. right hip floats over it. We're going to try and return the right shoulder down to the ground. Gaze can go up towards the ceiling or over towards the right palm. Notice all the points along your body that are touching the floor. Allow those points to feel heavy. Notice the temperature that you detect those points of contact. Finally, notice the shape and the sensation of your breath. Notice how it acts on the body. Allow yourself to soften, release any clenching, any gripping. A moment, we'll turn the gaze up towards the ceiling. Inhale. And exhale, draw the knees up to float over the hips. Send the legs straight. Heels over the hips. Flex and point the toes. And then bring them down to the floor. You can keep the knees bent with feet wide on the mat, knees knock in. Or you can extend the legs long, letting them part like a lazy starfish. And take final resting pose, Savasana, however you like. If you're laying back, allow the hands to be loose, let the backs of the palms, the backs of the hands be heavy. Maybe feel the fingers release their grip and open up a bit. Feel the shoulders rolling down, coaxing the chest to open too. Soften the belly. Let the breath be swell like a river peacefully running by. This final pose, notice all the points on the back body in contact with the floor. Allow yourself to deposit all your weight, whether it's physical or emotional, or energetic otherwise. Let all of that find a spout through those anchor points and pass down into the earth below you. Feel the chest buoyant, animated by the heart left behind. Watching the breath enter and exit. Enter and exit. That's all you need to do is allow yourself to watch and enjoy the breath come in and out. Please allow yourself to enjoy for a few more minutes. The most important part of the practice. And once you're ready to resume your day or your night, then you can come out of it. Try to be as slow and gentle with yourself as possible when you choose to do that. I will catch you next time. Thanks for joining.